if I could see why the FBI was following them, even though I feel as though they shouldn't have. These
No,
movements,
they definitely shouldn't have.
These movements wouldn't be so big if y'all treated people right. Like,
or I'll say, if they do follow them, they need to be consistent and follow all internal terrorist groups that they
yeah,
terrorist
either
groups,
follow all of us or none of us.
Be consistent. Exactly. Just be consistent, you know?
Like, you weren't...
We're not going to get that, of course.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Del.
And this is the Black Catch-Up, where we're catching up on iconic black media we missed out on in our more conservative religious childhood.
So today, we did a documentary.
Yes.
Blood Brothers.
Yes, Blood Brothers, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. This is actually a pretty new one. This came out like the 9th. Yeah. Is that true? It came out very recently.
Of September?
Like this month. Or... Yeah. In September, this month when we're filming. So, as always, IMDb. This one is, from a chance meeting to a tragic fallout, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali's extraordinary bond cracks under the weight of distrust and shifting ideals. All right. Okay. So, documentaries, we do things a little bit differently, as you probably know. We have... Oops. I don't have the questions up, so maybe you don't know. But first question is, what did you learn from this film, and did you gain new insight?
Yeah, I guess I'll kick this one off. For me, I thought this movie really filled in a piece that I'd kind of been missing.
Yeah.
From some of the movies we've seen before that just talked about one of them.
Yeah.
It seemed like in the Malcolm X documentary, there was a point in the film where they're oh, him and Muhammad Ali were very good friends, and then they gloss over it, talk more about Malcolm X, and then at the end they're oh, they met at this hotel, but there was a fallout, and then they kind of gloss over it and keep going. And it was the same for the Muhammad Ali movie.
Yeah.
So I felt like this one kind of really connected their two stories in a way that made more sense to me and was a lot easier to see than from some of the other stuff we've seen.
Yeah. I said almost exactly the same thing. It just did a good job of filling in the gaps from the Ali movie and the Malcolm X biopics we saw. Mm-hmm. And those videos should be up on our channel if you want to check them out.
Yeah, definitely check them out.
I understood the falling out a little bit better, but I still thought it was definitely still kind of vague, if you ask me, the exact reasons. But it definitely did fill in the gaps, because it kind of was just from what I learned from the other movies was just yeah, they used to be friends, now they're not. And it was
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say you learned?
Yeah, that was probably I think the biggest thing. Yeah, I overall did the storytelling though, of how they kind of bounce back and forth between each of them during the time.
I did not like how it shifted. I would have preferred if it stayed a little bit. You said you enjoyed it?
Yeah, no, I did actually.
I would have preferred if they kept it a little bit tighter.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind it that much. I just would have liked it a little bit tighter, just that little bit more, instead of and then what was he doing at this point, and then going, it just felt a little bit.
Yeah, I will say there were a few brief points where they would say something and then go back a few years.
Yeah,
those moments I didn't like as much, but I did I guess the difference of them alternating between each person's lives.
Yeah, I think that was mostly what I didn't like. I mostly didn't like when they just were far into the future and well, let's go back real quick, and I'm no, let's stay where we are, please. Keep the story moving.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
The next is, describe a moment or scene in the film that you found particularly disturbing or moving, and what about it was especially compelling for you? So I could start with this one.
Off, yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought, it wasn't a scene, but it was something they were talking about, and it was after Muhammad Ali won his Olympic gold medal, and then came back to America, where it was still segregated. That was no wonder he's so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
You go out, you love America, and you're just representing the country to the best of your ability. And whilst you're over there, you're kind of embraced by everyone. There's no Jim Crow or anything like that. And then to come back home, and I think he was sitting, they said he was sitting at the counter at a diner or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were you can't sit there. And it's and he had like his Olympic jacket and the medal and everything, and I'm like,
yep.
you know who he fucking is? And then they said he like threw his medal in the river. And honestly, same. I would have been pissed too.
Yeah, no, for real.
Like that would have.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was so heartbreaking. But like, that's America. They kind of just like want you to give so much while giving you so little. And that's not even just like a black person thing. Also, like, if you're poor, they're not giving you as much as they want you to give.
Yeah.
Or like if you're LGBTQIA plus, if you are any religion other than Christian, like America so much wants you to like wants you to cape for them so hard while not being ride or die for you, basically.
Yeah. No, like I think America definitely is that like white Christian male. Like that's if you're not that, America doesn't really care, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, so I guess, this, like, question you found, like, most disturbing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is really disturbing per se, but this is kind of the part that stood out to me. I thought their beef was kind of, like, very, like, high school kind of petty-ish. And, like,
yeah.
I think part of it is, like, I think it's not, like, getting too deep on religion, but it's like, different when like a prominent religious figure is still alive and like actively making decisions.
Yeah.
And so it seemed like their beef was, oh, I'm Elijah Muhammad, I say this thing, you can't say anything else. And then Malcolm X says something like slightly different, and Elijah Muhammad goes, okay, no one talk to this guy.
Yeah, that's
or
essentially
else,
what
you
it
know?
was to my understanding.
Yeah, like that was just really wild to me that's like really what did it, you know? And like then again, like I guess Elijah Muhammad sent like Muhammad Ali like threats essentially saying, hey, I don't want you talking to Malcolm X anymore.
Yeah.
And that led to the whole like snubbing outside that Miami hotel or whatever. Like it just like I was just shocked that it was like I don't know, something that to me seemed kind of like just petty. Like I do understand the like intent behind like, you know, wanting to have one unified statement as an organization, but yeah, it just seemed like super, just like
it seemed like because
like,
this friend doesn't like you, you can't hang out with us.
Exactly.
That's basically what it was, to my understanding, unless I like missed something crazy. But
yeah, no, that's what I got from it too. So
yeah, it was like he doesn't like you, so we can't be friends anymore.
Yep.
But yeah,
so that hurt.
Was wild.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
And I guess honestly, that combined with the fact that like it was the like Nation of Islam that ended up killing Malcolm X. It seems like so. Like, just the fact that, like, they let, like, again, something that to me seemed kind of petty, you know, like, escalate to that point, you know, and then even after it, they had, like, Elijah Muhammad saying something like, yeah, I guess that's what happens when you go against Elijah Muhammad's word.
Yeah.
You're, like, talking about himself kind of thing, so that whole, like, thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Because I had to rewatch the ending of it, because I was like, did I really miss how, like, the falling out was, and I was like, and I watched it pretty late the first time I watched it, so I was like, it's entirely possible I missed it. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, no, I didn't. And but what stuck me as well about that part was how they kind of were trying to make it seem as though the messenger, in that case Elijah Muhammad, was kind of infallible, and how you don't question the messenger, you just like do what he says. And when you exalt any human in that way, you're always going to have a problem when you exalt a human in that way, just because humans are fallible, and you can't like make a pillar of like perfection out of a imperfect being. That just doesn't work.
And I think that's honestly what made it kind of worse for me too, because I guess the other part of the beef was that I guess Malcolm X had started speaking on like the dirt Elijah Muhammad had done, like with like having like kids with like little girls, you know. And then I think Elijah Muhammad's reaction being, okay, let's kill this man at his next speech, makes it seem even much more worse. Kind of like that, like
I didn't like.
Hey, we're not. And then even the one dude in the documentary who was, you know, in like the black militia garb, I guess, he didn't even like seem to like deny it. He like deny that Elijah Muhammad like had these problems. He was like, yeah, you shouldn't be worried about his life anyway. And like, that seemed to be the response. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't like it. And I didn't like it in the terms of I don't like when black men aren't protecting black women or speaking out unless it benefits them. Because in the interview, from what I gathered, it seemed as though Malcolm X was like, yeah, the reason he wants me gone is because I know something bad about him. And that bad thing that I'm going to tell you now that it benefits me is that he's like raping children and like fathering babies by them. And it's like, you should be saying that anyway, even if it doesn't benefit you, because he's raping people.
Yep.
So that's, like, no one's perfect, but, like, that's really bad. Like, tell people that anyway. That was
Yeah, no, really.
I was like, that's something that should be, like, front page news. We, like, get that word out now.
Yeah. Or, like, it shouldn't be something that, like, you as his follower are, like, adamantly hiding, helping him hide.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Or,
that
like,
gave me very R. Kelly.
like, if you hear that, you don't have to, like, go out of your way to defend him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way.
Okay, let's see. Did anything in the film surprise you? Was anything familiar?
Let's see. I guess, like, the story overall was familiar. Like I said, like, I guess, like, having seen the other ones, the whole story was familiar.
So, yeah.
And again, this kind of did just, like, connect those kind of, like, missing pieces for me.
Yeah. I will say, this isn't surprising, and I think what upset me was that it wasn't surprising, but just, I'll never get over the way they casually talk about the FBI stalking these people.
Yeah.
Like, that's always wild to me. Where it's like, yeah, and these FBI calls, we tapped in. Now we know that Elijah Muhammad talked to Muhammad Ali, so they're friends. And it's like, why are you tapping these people? And it's when it comes down, what it comes down to it is that these are like charismatic black men who aren't speaking about peace like MLK was. Not that that's a good example because they killed him too.
No, yeah, for real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They're getting a big following. They're like really prominent in the community. Like, Muhammad Ali is basically unstoppable in the ring. He just became the heavyweight champion of the world, and now he's not like saying super Christian things. He's like talking about black supremacy, for lack of a better term. But like, you get to all that, and it's like, well, we gotta stop that right the fuck now.
Yeah.
So just the
casual
FBI stalking is always wild to me.
I was gonna say similar. I like how they commented on how, like, they, like, really turned both of them into, like, kind of martyrs after their death. Like, you know, that, like, they put Malcolm X on this pedestal, have him on, like, stamps, but, like, when he was alive, like, you guys didn't want him speaking anywhere.
When he was alive,
like,
y'all didn't.
You guys were like actively trying to kill him, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, honestly, same with Muhammad Ali. Like, you pretty much spent your whole time trying to silence him, but, like, once he's gone or old, you know, it's like,
then you're like,
let's praise him and celebrate him.
He's a pillar of the community. His teachings were so brilliant, and then it's like, y'all didn't think they were pretty brilliant when he was here. And maybe if you thought they were brilliant then, he'd still be here.
Yep.
So, next question. Did you answer the one we just did?
What was the last question?
Did anything surprise you, or was anything familiar?
Oh, yeah, I said the whole thing was kind of familiar, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't anything too surprising.
All right. So, next question is, if you could ask anyone in this film a single question, who would you ask, and what would you want to know?
Okay, I need to think about this one. You can answer first, I think.
I said I would ask Malcolm X what it was like watching Ali fight Liston, and if he always believed in his skills. Because that feels as though it was kind of at the height-ish of their friendship when they were first, like, being seen together. And afterwards, they, like, go to the diner, like, very publicly, big hoo-ha, brouhaha, hip hooray. So I just think it would be interesting to hear someone who was, like, so close to Ali talk about his fighting. Especially an ex-friend, too. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because they were not friends at the end. Like, did you always believe in him? Do you still believe in him? Maybe, like, what was it? What was it like seeing like that? I am the greatest. I shook up the world. I missed Ali's bragging poems. I loved hearing the little snippets of those we heard. I was like, yes, we're back to that. Yeah. And it also made me appreciate how good Will Smith did on his voice.
Yeah, he did really good.
Your turn?
Yeah, I guess for me, probably, I would want to just, I guess, get the situation from Elijah Muhammad's perspective.
Oh, okay.
Especially from that, like, JFK death kind of point, you know? Like, I would just kind of ask him, like, why was this the issue to blackball him on? You know, because, like,
broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I understand, like, the whole, like, hey, don't say anything I haven't said, you know? But, yeah, I would just like to know, like, Because again, it seemed like he was pretty much willing to go all the way for this like issue, you know, to the point like the where his meant to kill him more or less, you know. So
Yeah.
I would just like to, I don't know, tap into that kind of what went down there, you know.
Yeah. Like the only thing I can
It seemed like
speculate-
he definitely seemed to drive them away. Like he seemed to be the one that kind of drove them,
Yeah.
you know, apart.
Elijah Muhammad
almost
definitely
directly, you
was
know?
the spark that broke that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And the last question is, who would you recommend this film to?
Yeah, I guess honestly, I feel like anyone who's like interested in the story,
Yeah.
like, I would almost recommend watching the individual documentaries first.
I said
'Cause I think
exactly that
they-
same thing.
Yeah,
I said
I
anyone
think they
who's
brought a
seen
lot
the
of
Ali or
context.
Malcolm X biopics, just because it like fills in
Yeah.
a bit more the gaps with like not dramatized truth, I guess. Because biopics kind of, they definitely do follow a story, but like some of them are more like fantastical than others. I think these were
Yeah,
pretty like
yeah.
true to what happened, but like you know what I'm saying. You want to get like bare bone facts as
More
well
like,
in there
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Just fill in those little spaces. Yeah.
Okay.
I still wish they said more about Vietnam. I would have loved to hear more about Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
But I think because that had
I wish we
nothing to
got
do
more full
directly.
speeches.
Yeah. I think because that
Yeah,
had
probably
nothing to do
not.
directly with Malcolm X, they weren't going to say it. But I'm still waiting for the Muhammad Ali versus the U.S. docu-series. I don't know if that exists or not. I should probably
Yeah.
look that up. But yeah. That was Blood Brothers, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali.
Blood Brothers, yes.
Yes, a fairly new one.
Yeah, but definitely a good one. Definitely
Yeah, I
one of
did
the better
enjoy it.
documentaries, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't too long. The story was pretty concise. And I will say, I really liked stylistically the little cartoony thing they did occasionally. It makes me really kind of want a documentary that's almost exclusively a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be very interesting. Because you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was like a 2D cartoon where it would just like have them, like they did it when they first meet in the diner. A lot of diner talk. When they first meet in the diner,
Yeah.
it's like, and he saw them with these like bodyguards around him, and he's like, he thinks he's important, so he must be important. I'm gonna treat him like he's important. I just liked that whole thing and how they used the little 2D animation for it. I would love an entire documentary in 2D animation.
Yeah.
I think that'd be very
it definitely like
interesting.
breaks up the like black and white images or like
Yeah.
and a lot of times it's like photos we've already seen too, you know.
A lot
just
of
off,
those
like,
photos I was like, I've definitely
again
seen
like
these
just other
photos.
movies and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But once again, that was Blood
So-
Brothers.
Yeah, Blood Brothers. So YouTube housekeeping, like, comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell for notifications. If you have any movie suggestions for us, you can leave them in the comments down below. We do movies on Tuesdays and Fridays. All of our socials will be in the description box down below. And we'll see you next time to catch up. Bye.
But all right.
That's all I have.
Yeah, that's all we have for Blood Brothers. This one you should check out.
Yeah.
If you're still listening. I don't know.
I'll be cutting this part up, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that probably will get cut.
But yeah.
All right.